Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive?
Uh,
It's a big one, maybe even a little unsettling.
Definitely big.
Not just talking economics, but how this whole economic system
Right.
might be shaping us without us even realizing it.
Exactly. Going beyond the numbers,
Yeah.
beyond those headlines to see how it impacts our values, beliefs, even our sense of self.
And our source material for this deep dive, well, it doesn't hold back. It argues that a society so focused on the economy, like it's the ultimate value,
Right.
might be heading towards a new form of slavery.
Yeah.
Strong words, but stick with us.
It's a really interesting perspective.
Because it offers some eye-opening insights, like into education, surveillance, even how we define morality.
It makes you rethink some basic assumptions, about how we live, what we value.
Okay, so the source jumps right in, saying that modern society, we've basically put the economy on this pedestal,
Yeah.
like it's everything.
And all be all.
And we've kind of pushed aside those deeper questions.
Like the philosophical stuff.
Yeah, the spiritual stuff that used
Yeah.
to guide, like, civilizations.
Right. Think about ancient Greece. Honor was everything, shaped their whole social order, military, even their art. Or medieval Europe, religion was the dominant force influencing everything. Architecture, daily life, you name it.
But now, instead of asking, what's the meaning of life?
Right.
Or, like, what's a good life?
Yeah.
It's all about how do we increase productivity?
What's the return on investment?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So our source uses this really strong phrase to describe this shift,
Oh, yeah.
the economy as a false god.
It's potent, right?
The idea that this constant need for growth, for consumption,
Yeah.
it can be all-consuming, overshadowing other parts of a fulfilling life,
Yeah.
you know?
Right. Creativity, relationships, spiritual exploration.
Right.
The things that, arguably give our existence meaning, they kind of get drowned out by the noise of the economic machine.
Exactly. It's not that the economy is inherently bad.
Right.
It's about what happens when we make it the center of everything, the center of our values.
And that leads us to education, something that really resonated with me. The source compares the modern education system to, a machine
Okay.
churning out these economic units
Interesting.
instead of well-rounded people.
Yeah.
And I remember those career aptitude tests in school. It felt like they were just trying to categorize us, like, good at math, must be an accountant. Right.
And it made me wonder, like, do they even care about our actual passions?
It's a powerful image, right? This idea that we're being primed to be economic contributors first and foremost.
Yeah,
The pressure on students today is immense,
it is.
Get good grades, get into a good college, land a high-paying job. It's a treadmill, this
Yeah.
relentless treadmill of achievement.
And the source argues that this pressure to conform, this lack of freedom within the system,
Right.
it can stifle something crucial, a genuine love of learning.
It changes the focus, doesn't it? Instead of knowledge for the joy of it, it's about what gets you ahead.
Yeah.
What looks good on a resume, not what sparks your interest.
Yeah, it's almost like we're being trained from a young age to see ourselves as economic assets.
Cogs in the machine.
Yeah.
And that's where this idea of modern-day slavery comes in.
Wow.
It's obviously a provocative term,
Yeah.
but it highlights how our education system, while it teaches us important skills,
Right.
often prioritizes economic productivity over, fostering genuine intellectual curiosity, and that has consequences.
Yep.
But let's unpack those after a quick break.
And we're back. So before the break, things were getting kind of deep.
Yeah.
Like how this pressure to succeed economically is affecting our schools, our sense of self.
Right.
But this next part, it's about surveillance.
Mm.
It's almost like we've gone from like prepping kids for this economic machine to putting them under constant watch.
It's a stark contrast, yeah.
Yeah.
But the source makes this point about how we think about childhood freedom now compared to, before.
Right.
They talk about this bygone era where kids were just free to roam, explore their neighborhoods, have all these unsupervised adventures.
Yeah.
It's different from how we parent today.
It sounds kind of idyllic, though, in a way.
Right.
Like, can you imagine just letting kids wander off on their own these days? I remember as a kid, the only tracking device my parents had was yelling my name out the back door until I came home for dinner. But now, it's GPS trackers on backpacks. We're monitoring every, online thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's like trying to control everything.
And while, of course, safety is a huge deal for parents,
Of course.
the source asks, does all this hypervigilance, with all this technology, does it come at a cost? Are we accidentally holding our kids back by trying to protect them from, every little thing.
That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because the source argues that all those carefree experiences,
Yeah.
building forts in the woods, riding bikes without helmets, things parents probably freaked out about,
Right.
they were actually really important for learning.
Exactly. Those experiences, as much as they might worried parents, let kids test boundaries.
Right.
They build resilience, self-reliance, all that. They learn to trust their gut, bounce back from setbacks, navigate the world on their own.
And the source is saying by constantly hovering, monitoring, we're kind of robbing them of that.
Yeah.
They're not learning to trust their own judgment.
Right. Cope with uncertainty.
Or just, be self-reliant, which you need later in life.
You really do. And think about creativity, too. If you're always worried about messing up, breaking the rules, how likely are you to think outside the box, to experiment, to really innovate?
Yeah, it's like we're so busy trying to make them into these perfect little economic units, we forget they're humans. Humans who need to explore, experiment, even fail sometimes. But get this, it gets even weirder. We're going to talk about happiness.
Okay.
Or rather, how chasing happiness, the way, consumer society tells us to,
Right.
might actually be part of the problem.
Okay, this is where the source's critique of moral utilitarianism comes in.
Yeah.
It's a mouthful, I know,
It is.
but stick with me. Utilitarianism, basically, it's the idea that we should try to maximize happiness, minimize suffering for the most people possible.
Okay.
Sounds good.
On the surface, yeah. Who doesn't love happiness?
Yeah.
But our source seems to think this constant chasing after happiness, this, aversion to any kind of discomfort,
Yeah.
might be holding us back in ways we don't even realize.
It's not that happiness is bad, okay?
Right.
The source gets that well-being is important,
Yeah.
but always striving for comfort, for ease,
Yeah.
it can lead to a life lacking depth, lacking challenge,
Right.
and ultimately true fulfillment.
So it's like we're avoiding any pain or discomfort, and we're missing out on the experiences that actually make us feel alive.
Yes, that help us grow.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like choosing a funny, mindless movie
Yeah.
over a documentary that makes you think that might challenge you.
Right.
One's easy, instant gratification, but the other that could give you a deeper, more lasting sense of fulfillment.
So if the goal isn't just to be happy consumers, it's comfortable and numb to everything,
Right, right.
what are we supposed to be aiming for? The source talks about vitalism. What is that?
So vitalism, it's about embracing it all.
Okay.
The highs, the lows, joy, sorrow, the whole spectrum of being human. It recognizes that even the unpleasant stuff, pain, struggle, it's valuable. It's valuable for growth, for self-discovery.
Hold on. Are we saying that suffering is good now?
Not good, exactly. More like necessary.
Okay.
Think of an Olympic athlete, right? Grueling workouts, pushing their bodies to the absolute limit, pain, exhaustion.
Yeah.
They don't do that because they enjoy suffering.
Right.
It's because it's how they achieve greatness.
I see. So it's more about understanding that the struggle is part of it. And often it's in those uncomfortable moments that we figure out how strong we are, how resilient we are.
Exactly. And by protecting ourselves from discomfort all the time, always looking for ease, pleasure,
Yeah.
we might miss out on the very things that make us grow,
Yeah.
that help us understand ourselves and the world.
And we're back. Okay, so we've covered a lot,
We really have.
from how our education system is all about economic productivity
Right.
to how avoiding discomfort could actually be holding us back from, a more fulfilling life.
Right. It all comes back to that core question, right? Is this economy we've built everything around, is it leading us towards a new kind of slavery?
It's a big one.
It is. We've been looking at how this focus on the economy, it gets into everything, our values, our choices, even just what it means to be free. It's a lot, right? But what I'm getting from our source material, maybe true freedom isn't about having more stuff or always chasing those fleeting good times.
Right, right.
Maybe it's about questioning those beliefs that are so deeply ingrained in us, about what a good life even is, Because so often it's all about economic success, material wealth.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that prioritizing comfort and security above everything else, it has a downside.
Yeah.
Because if we're always just seeking ease, avoiding any discomfort, we might miss the things that actually lead to growth, resilience, a deeper understanding of ourselves, the world around us.
It's almost like we're so busy following this path to economic success, we don't even look around. Is this even where we want to go?
But if we did break free from that mindset, even a little, what would that even look like? And our source challenges us to imagine that.
To imagine a different world, yeah.
Like, what if we had an education system that wasn't so focused on test scores and getting a job?
Imagine if it was about intellectual curiosity, critical thinking,
Right.
where kids felt encouraged to question things, explore, discover what they're passionate about, without this pressure to fit into some economic role.
And imagine a society that actually values, like, genuine connection, personal fulfillment,
Yes.
over just consuming more and more.
Yeah.
A society that says, hey, you can find meaning and purpose in other things, not just possessions or status.
It's a big shift.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's exciting, too, because it means we have more power than we think.
Right. We really do.
We can challenge how things are, redefine success on our own terms,
Mm-hmm.
and create a world where, like, freedom and fulfillment are possible for everyone, not just those at the top of the economic ladder.
It's about that bigger picture.
Yeah.
Valuing things like personal growth, relationships, really engaging with the world, stuff you can't measure in dollars and cents.
This has been quite the deep dive, I'll say that.
It has.
Made us confront some uncomfortable stuff about our society, ourselves even. But honestly, I think it's hopeful. Because if we can start questioning these deeply held beliefs about what a good life is, we can build a world where true freedom and fulfillment, those are possible for everybody. And as always, huge thank you to you, our incredible listeners, for coming along on this. Until next time, keep asking those big questions. Keep diving deep.